Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio with a quick little update on Warhammer 40,000. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. So we see we've got some new errata just came out as of March 16th, 2022. So this is pretty much fresh off the press here. We have for the Warzone Nachmund Vigilus alone, Warzone Nachmund Grand Tournament Mission Pack, power rating update for the Adeptus Sororitas, which I will not be looking at, and then the Codex Tau Empire update as well. So this is fresh errata on everything. Let's take a look through here. So first we see the Warzone Nachmund Vigilus alone, Indominus version 1.0. These documents collect amendments to the rules and present our response to players' frequently asked questions. Often these amendments are updates necessitated by new releases or community feedback. At other times, these amendments are errata designed to correct mistakes or add clarity to a rule that is not as clear as it might be. So updates and errata. Designer's notes. Changes below are to ensure the rules found in the Order of the Bloody Rose Codex Supplement work in the same way as the Order of our Martyred Lady Codex Supplement found in Warzone Trajann Book 2, the Book of Fire. As such, these changes allow you to include sanctified and outcast units in an Order of the Bloody Rose detachment, and allow character units that are not specifically for the Order of the Bloody Rose to be your warlord, without preventing access to the warlord traits and relics available to the Order through this Codex supplement. So essentially, this is, you have unique characters that can't be committed to a specific order, and this allows you to have them be your warlord, but not mess with the bonus like traits and relics, etc., that you gain from this special supplement. So page 76, Codex Supplement, Order of the Bloody Rose. Change the second paragraph to read, some rules in this section refer to an Order of the Bloody Rose detachment. This is one that only includes units with the Order of the Bloody Rose keyword, excluding models with Sanctified, Cult Imperialis, Outcasts, Agents of the Imperium, or unaligned keywords. Page 76, Warlord Traits, change the first sentence to read, if an Order of the Bloody Rose character model gains a Warlord trait, you can use the Order of the Bloody Rose Warlord trait table below to determine what Warlord trait you have instead of the one from another source. And then page 77, Relics, change the first sentence to read, if your Warlord is Morven Val, Triumph of St. Catherine, Celestine, or Order of the Bloody Rose character model, you can, when mustering your army, give one of the following relics or ecclesiarchy to an Order of the Bloody Rose character model from your army. So that's a perfect example. Any of those would be a valid selection as a warlord, but not mess with the rules that restrict, quote unquote, you to taking a complete detachment. So essentially it's saying you can't have mixed detachments, but characters like Morven Val, Triumph of St. Catherine, or Celestine, all are still viable leaders without invalidating that, even though they're not pledged specifically to one of those orders. And then finally, page 78, Outrage of the Matriarch. Change the second sentence of this stratagem to read, until the end of the phase, each time this model makes an attack, that target an enemy unit containing any models with wounds characteristics that exceeds its own. Alright, and that is for the Vigilus alone. And then next we have for the Warzone Nachmund Grand Tournament Mission Pack. Same thing, I'm not going to read through like the little amendment disclaimer, but updates and errata, page 4, muster armies, add the following bullet point to the exceptions listed in the right hand column, specialist mob units, and then FAQs. Question, are named characters exempt from the rules that require every unit that has a selectable keyword to have the same selectable keyword? So we see obviously that is a specific example that we just talked about for the Adeptus Sororitas. And the answer is A, yes. Though named characters can have subfaction keywords, they are typically predetermined and not selected by the player. i.e., they are not typically presented within angular brackets. Question, can I include Militarum Tempestus units in the same army as a unit from another regiment, e.g. Cadian? A. Answer, yes. Though Militarum Tempestus is a subfaction keyword, it is not a keyword that is selected by the player, i.e. is not presented within angular brackets, and so is exempt from the rules that require every unit that has a selectable keyword to have the same selectable keyword. Note that if the Militarum Tempestus units are using the Ordo Tempestus rules from Psychic Awakening, the greater good, which gives them the Tempestus Regiment keyword, then all Militarum Tempestus units from your army must be from the same Tempestus Regiment. So basically saying that Militarum Tempestus can be included with a All-Cadian regiment, and then within that, the Tempestus all have to have the same specialized Militarum Tempestus keyword, but that the two can still be in the same army composition. So again, just kind of clarifying some of these things. Warzone Nachmund, Munitorum Field Manual, Updates and Errata, page 48. Sagittarium Custodians, remove the Misericordia entry from this unit's points values. So what that means, and there's been a little bit of talk about this, it could have been worded a little bit differently or clarified, but essentially what this says is remove the Misericordia entry from the unit's points values. So there's no longer a point value associated with it, but the model still is equipped with it. Therefore, it is free. It's included. Whenever you take a Sagittarium Custodian squad, they have Misericordias already. And this is right in line with the rest of the Custodian Guard, or, Custodian Army right now. So that is big. That saves you a couple points per model, makes them very viable, and that's a unit where it really does matter having that dagger, because they normally just have their guns. So giving them that Misericordia is key, and not charging any extra points. Now we have the most thorough one is the Codex Tau Empire update. So again, I'm not going to read through their little disclaimer again. You can obviously go find these. I'll leave the links down below in the description also. And if you do enjoy updates like this, find them useful, news, reactions, reviews, etc., make sure to like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. So updates and errata, page 56. Vectored maneuvering thrusters add, battlesuit model only. That is obvious, like a regular dude can't just like vectored thruster around without a backpack, without a battlesuit. Page 64, disengagement protocols, change to read. Each time an infantry unit with this tenet is selected to fall back, select one enemy unit within engagement range of that infantry unit and roll on a d6. On a 2 to 5, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Page 65. Enriched reactors. Change to read. Each time a model with this tenet makes a ranged attack with a plasma weapon, page 130, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage. Page 77. Aerospace targeting relays. Third paragraph, second sentence. Change to read. Each unit from your army that starts to perform this action must be within 6 inches of the center of a different aerospace designation marker that has not had targeting relay installed at it. Okay, so yeah, you can only do it once per. Page 87, Spectre of Unity. Add the following to the start of the relics rule. Ethereal model only, or ethereal. Page 93, Manta Strike. Change the first sentence to read. During deployment, if every model in the unit has this ability, you can set it up, this unit, in a Manta hold instead of setting it up on the battlefield. Again, this is an obvious one. If you have like drones and they have Manta Strike, or a battlesuit and it has Manta Strike, if you have a mixed unit where everything doesn't have Manta Strike, you can't use it. It has to be, everything in the unit has to have that ability to be able to use it. Page 99, Commander Farsight abilities, tactical acumen. Change the first sentence to read. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Farsight Enclave Crisis Core unit within 9 inches of this model. Page 112. So here's getting into the bodyguards. This is crucial. Crisis bodyguards, other war gear, early warning override. Add the following as a second bullet point to this ability. Each time you use the Fire Overwatch stratagem, if the bearer is on the battlefield and its unit is selected to fire Overwatch, reduce the command point cost of the stratagem by 1 command point to a minimum of 0. Note that the command point cost is only reduced by 1 command point for the use of the stratagem, and any future usages of it cost a normal command points. So when you use the stratagem, To fire Overwatch, it reduces it by 1, but then in the future it doesn't just stay free or stay reduced by 1. It's one-time only use. Page 112. So this is where it starts to really matter, honestly. Crisis bodyguards, other war gear, multi-tracker. Change the first sentence to read: each time a ranged attack made by the bearer targets a unit containing 6 or more models, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. Page 112, Crisis Bodyguard, abilities, Sworn Protectors. Okay, so this is the big one. Change to read: while a friendly SEP character model, excluding vehicle and monster models, is within 3 inches of any crisis models in this unit, enemy models cannot target the character model's unit with ranged attacks. So the most important part there is excluding vehicles. So you can no longer use bodyguards to shield, say for instance, Long Strike inside of his tank. And I think that's how it's intended. You could argue that the crisis battlesuits are swarming around the tank, flying in front of it, taking shots or whatever. It's a lot more realistic to protect, a model versus a tank vehicle model. So I think that's fair. I think that's how it's intended to be. So, and having a tank that's basically like untargetable, even if you can see it, is pretty tough. Especially if you're able to just like conceal your bodyguard units 3 inches from it, behind like a line of sight blocking piece of terrain, and then just expose the tank out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's one thing to do it with a character model like Trajann, where you can't shoot at him and then he has bodyguards sitting behind like a piece of cover. Already that's kind of a crazy rule. You should be able to like target that guy, but then the damage goes to the bodyguards. That's how I would do it, but I get what they're doing here. But to do that with the tank is obviously a little too much. So page 129, Storm Surge Wargear options, third bullet point, change the Storm Surge multi-tracker to multi-tracker. So it was before titled Storm Surge multi-tracker, now it's just regular multi-tracker. So there's no confusion there. And then this is back to the Manta Strike type thing. FAQ, this is obvious. Question, can a drone model with a different SEP keyword to the unit it is attached to? No, when a unit is equipped with a drone model, that drone model comes as part of the unit's status sheet and so must be drawn from the same SEP as the rest of the unit. This also means that Commando Shadowstone and Long Strike drones have the Tau SEP keyword. And then question, if a unit contains both drone models which can fly. Oh, so that last one is important because if you go to use like savior protocols, you can only save your protocol, if I'm not mistaken, for a unit with the same keyword. So Long Strike's drones or Shadow Sun's drones can only jump in front of Tau, keyword units, if I'm not mistaken on that. Now, I'd have to double check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's why that's so relevant. And then this is the one I was talking about. Q, if a unit contains both drone models, which can fly, and models which cannot fly, like Pathfinders, can the whole unit move as if it had fly? E.g., can Pathfinder models move over other models as if they were not there when moving, just because there is a drone model in the unit and therefore that unit has the fly keyword? And the answer, obviously, is no. Only models which actually have the fly keyword can move using the fly rules. E.g., in a Pathfinder unit, only drone models in that unit can move over other models as if they were not there when the unit makes a move. Obviously, very obvious. There's no question on anyone's mind on that one. Well, apparently one person. It's crazy that Games Workshop had to answer that. There's so many more relevant questions that I would rather have answered than that specifically. Question, can a unit that is performing an action while under the effects of a rule that lets it count as having remained stationary, e.g. Monka, make a normal move without that action failing? And the answer is no. Any action a unit is currently performing but has not yet completed will still fail if the unit makes a normal move, or advances, falls back, performs a heroic intervention, or declares a charge, even if it is under the effects of a rule that says it counts as remaining stationary. Designers note, this is true for every unit in Warhammer 40,000, and we will be adding the clarification to the next round of updates to the core rules. But as a predominantly affects Tau Empire players, now due to the actions within their codex, we wanted to make answer clear to the upholders of the greater good ahead of time. So obviously using Monka to allow your unit to act as if it remains stationary does not prohibit the restrictions for performing actions, which are, that it couldn't move. So you can't use one rule to basically break the game. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So we got a couple of important ones there. I think the biggest one is the bodyguard rule, and then also the Misericordia rule for the Sagittarium guard. So I will leave the link down below if you want to check out these for yourself. They are on Warhammer community website under the FAQ section for Warhammer 40,000. But if we just scroll down here, that was obviously the remainder of them. And we've been kept up to date on everything since then. So I will keep on keeping you guys up to date. I appreciate everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. All kinds of reactions, reviews, and news. And then, of course, show off commissions as they go out of the studio. And then we've got a bunch of different tutorials on painting, modeling, converting, pretty much anything to do with tabletop wargaming. This is your one-stop shop. That's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.